Today's episode features Ila Welty, born in Azerbaijan into a conservative Muslim family that placed strong restrictions on her life. Her move to Russia opened her world to possibilities, bringing to light what her life could be if she was free. She spent years planning her escape, and with countless tribulations, finally left and moved to Hong Kong. Here today with us to share her journey is Ila. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So before we get to the story, you now live in Hong Kong. How is life and assimilating to Hong Kong culture?
For me, it's not difficult to adjust to any place because I've been moving from childhood. I was counting the other day how many long-term apartments I've changed, and I think it was more than 20.
Wow.
Maybe it's not many for people, but then I've been moving since I've been baby, from place to place, from apartment to apartment. Even it was between Russia and Azerbaijan, like I was living 1 year in one, we were renting, and then next year moved to somewhere else, and next year, and then changing schools, changing classmates, changing neighborhood. So I'm used to, moving and adjusting. So yeah, I think I was fine with that.
Yeah. So what was it like then moving around during childhood? Did you develop insecurities or was it generally quite easy?
I'd say it was difficult from the perspective of that culture is different.
Yeah.
And as a child, like I was really, really shy, really, obedient child. So I was doing things only I was told to do. And I was kind of, like puppet which you move, and moving to Russia where everybody's independent around you, it was like a bit whoa. And then again, I faced loads of racism in Russia. Like I've been called like N-word, like I don't know why, but for them I was black. So and then it was difficult because they were like calling you like dirty, black, or wash your dirt off. And then it was difficult to make friends, and bullying and racism, that was difficult part, not like nothing else, I think. And then moving back to Azerbaijan 6 years later was difficult because my mind already shifted for Russian culture, and going back to Azerbaijan was like, I don't feel like I fit in, like so many rules, and I don't want to follow those rules anymore. So yeah, from that perspective, cultural perspective, it was difficult. But then I don't think that it was difficult for changing like friends or not. I'm friendly. I make friends really easily.
Yeah, no, you have a great personality, and it shows in the article and in your YouTube videos. So how did you come up from, like you said, you were very shy and you kept things to yourself, but like how did that change? How did you change as a person? When did you discover that you were very extroverted?
Till age 9, I was always like quiet and obedient. I was like a perfect child. Like everybody was like, my mom and all relatives, like, why you can't be like Ila? Ila is such a nice girl. Ila is that. Ila is that. And I was thinking, that's a good thing. I need to keep being a good girl, which is how parents manipulate you.
What was education like for you and your family growing up?
My time, like 15 years ago, thinking about education after school was something, wow, what are you thinking about, girl? It was something impossible. Like I have 2 sisters and none of them actually finished high school. None. Like I'm only the one who finished and got higher education. And I think that I'm truly blessed. I feel like I'm the happiest person in the world because, I mean, if not that education, I wouldn't be able to live. I got really, really lucky because my dad wanted to have education, but he did not pass his exams. And he always had that dream that one of his kids will, have education. And it happened that we have like 3 girls in a row. So my older sister, me, and then younger sister. And then 10 years later, they managed to get 2 boys. And boys, it's really important. That's another thing which annoys me a lot. So if you have girls, it's a sad news. If you have boys, yeah, you're a man, you did it. Basically, my older sister couldn't finish. She stopped at a grade 5. And after that, she did not even continue. My younger sister, she stopped at grade 9 because my cousin said, I will marry you anyway. What's the point of you finishing grade 10 and 11 because you're not going to have higher education anyway. So he asked my parents to, get her documents from school and that she's going to stay home. And thank God I didn't have any eyes on me that time. And I finished after I finished grade 10, I was like, we've got 2 years left and I don't want to get married, because by that time we were back in Azerbaijan and my Russian inner whatever that thing didn't want me to stay there. I didn't feel like I fit in at all. So I wanted to be like, at least have education, at least have some support. And I asked my dad, can I have higher education? And I think that moment he realized that 2 daughters already gone. They have no chances. And my brothers that time, they were like 4 years. And if he wanted to wait for them to grow up and have education, he would miss chance with me. So that's why he said yes. That's how I got a permission to have higher education. Otherwise, I would also be like married by now. And, during those 4 years at uni, I've been told that, as soon as you finish uni, we'll send you back to Azerbaijan and we'll marry you with someone of, whatever, like your grandma or aunties will find you some good husband.
So, do you mind telling us where your story begins?
So basically, till age 9, I lived in Azerbaijan. Almost at 9, we moved to Russia. I lived there for 6 years. And I think I'm not sure, 13, 14, we moved back to Azerbaijan again and lived there for 5 years. And at age 19, 20, we moved back to Russia. So it was Azerbaijan, Russia. And my language was really struggling between 2 languages, to be honest. By the time we finally made our last move to Russia, I was already like 19, 20. It's not even a teenager. So when you're a teenager or a child and your parents control you, it's one thing. You're like, okay, are the kids' parents also control because you're under 18 and, that's normal. But when you are over 18 and you can decide and do whatever you want with your life, and you see other people doing that, but now you still being adult, you still controlled, that was like a trigger moment. I was like, no, I can't that. So going to university was really, really stressful because I've been told that I can go only to uni and come directly back home. And first week, I started lying. I started lying because I think I'm quite smart person. Or I say cheeky person because, hey, now looking back, I know that it was a smart decision to do. So basically, I've been told to go to uni and come directly back home. No entertaining, no going out with friends, nothing, no talking to guys, absolutely. My dad literally sat me in front of him and talked to me. And he said, absolutely no connection with guys, unless they ask a pen or, I don't know, a rubber or something. So, and then, university life is absolutely different, right? Like people hang out, drink, and it's Russia, woohoo, crazy. And I was like, still in a box, still controlled, still being watched. And yeah, I absolutely didn't like it. And then, how all the girls from the group, oh, let's go there. Oh, sorry, I can't. Oh, let's do that. Oh, sorry, I can't. Let's celebrate Christmas over our place. Oh, sorry, I can't. So I was always left, And the first week at uni, I decided that. So our lectures finished around 2 p.m., I think. And if I go home around that time, they will know that it's usually the time I come back home.
Right.
And they will be expecting me to come back home that time. So instead of going back that time, I was just hanging around, in a shopping mall, walking in a park and so on till around 5 p.m. And then going home by 6. And they knew that it's my normal routine.
Right.
And I actually managed to do that for quite time. But then my dad asked to bring him a schedule, timetable signed by a principal or whoever. I kind of managed to solve that problem too.
So you made up a timetable and you got it signed.
Yeah, I changed it. So she signed it, but then I changed it. I added there some more.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, I'm a bad person. I'm such a bad person.
Oh, no.
Just a teenager.
Imagine I go home and uni, I would drive crazy. So then I had like 3-4 hours for myself, sometimes 3, sometimes less. But then it was fun during autumn and spring, but during winter, oh my God, with Russian winter with -30, just walking in a street or in the park, it was like, I hated it, but I couldn't go home early because I stick to my timetable. I didn't want them to have questions. So yeah, sometimes I was doing things with my friends after school, after uni, but sometimes I was just chilling by myself. That's why I hate being alone. It reminds me of alone all times. So, and that was the time when I actually realized that I don't want to lie anymore. I don't want to pretend. I don't want to hide. I want to have freedom. And that's when I started planning. So I have my best friend. He was supporting me a lot mentally. Like during 4 years, changing my mind every single day. I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't do that for my parents. I know how bad it is. I know that it's a bad, shame. And it was dangerous. I could get killed for that. I was changing my mind every day. And then my friend was like, okay, imagine you don't leave. Imagine you finish uni and they send you back to Azerbaijan and you get married and have kids. And pretty much very likely that your future husband won't even allow you to work because all your 4 years of studying for nothing. So do you want that? And I was like, no, I don't. So I'm like, so stick to the plan. So that was his support was a lot. And then, I was like planning that, okay, I need money, obviously, but then what could I do? I was studying, I couldn't work. So I found part-time tutoring. So, and I was going to tutor to language center to make some money, but again, it wasn't a lot. And there was another big issue, the citizenship. So I lived in Russia, but then I had Azeri passport. And if I decided to leave Russia and live by myself or move somewhere else, I will need passport for work. Or, if I decide to move abroad, I need foreign passport. So in Russia, you have passport and the foreign passport where they chop your stamp or the visas. So I was totally dependent again from my family. So I needed to do something about that. And I asked my dad, can we get me citizenship? And he was like, 1 week, he was like, okay, yeah, sure, let's do that. Yeah, you're probably going to stay here and so on. Next week, he was like, why you need to give up? Because that time you couldn't have double passport.
Yeah, dual passport.
Now you can. They got some contract with Azerbaijan, but that time you couldn't. You needed to give up your Azeri passport in order to get Russian one. And my dad was like, why? You're going to go back after you finish uni, you'll marry. Why you need to struggle with passport? And then next week he was changing my mind and again changing my mind, and it was terrible. And then it was like saying, oh, okay, we do that. But then let's wait for the person who does all the paperwork and we just pay for him. And eventually I said, you know what? I don't need anyone. I will do all the paperwork by myself. just tell me yes or no. And he said, okay, yes. And I'm not going to ask you anymore. That's your last permission. And I'm starting doing my paperwork. And I did all my paperwork for passport by myself. So I collected everything I needed. The last thing I needed is money. So, and it was like almost time when I needed to leave already, it was end of uni and I still didn't have my passport because I needed the last document. And I thought I can leave because you have to have 3 options in order to prove that you have money. You should have money in your bank account. You should have work or somebody support you financially. So I went to my dad and said, hey, I need you to sign papers that you supported me financially. And it was really difficult because he's been busy. And finally, he did that. We went to the immigration tower together and he was standing there signing papers. And I was feeling so guilty, guilty. Yeah. I knew that he's signing my freedom paper, but at the same time, he's signing papers for his headache and problems and all that shame and so on.
Do you think he had any idea while he was signing these papers? Did he have any idea that you were trying to leave? What was?
I don't think so.
Wow, that is so intricate. Your plan.
Everything.
Oh gosh, I'm dying, and let's not cover this now, but I'm going to ask you this later. I'm just dying to know whether you spoke to your dad afterwards and whether he sees it in retrospect and can say, "Oh my goodness, now I know why he made me sign those papers and the whole time."
It's very interesting.
That was kind of innocent. I just needed passport, and he knew that because sometimes he was saying, "Oh, maybe you stay here." Because my dad was changing his mind all the time. And unfortunately, he could listen to his friend's advice and change entire plan because somebody told him this is better. He didn't actually have his own thoughts, which is weird. So, sometimes he was coming and saying, let's go your passport and get your passport and you stay here, you get the master degree, and maybe we find you some Azeri guy who already lives in Russia and you marry here and stay here. I applied for passport and after, I think I finished uni July 15th. July 23rd is my birthday. So obviously I couldn't go anywhere, but I wanted to celebrate it with my friends. So I asked my parents, can I invite some girls from university? And I invited 3 close friends. And they knew, only my friends knew about me leaving and they were supporting me. So none of my sisters, no mom, nobody from my family knew that I'm going to leave. So I asked my friends, I will be packing some of my stuff. Can you take them with you when you leave the birthday party at my place?
That's intense.
And they're like, yeah, for sure. So I packed, I'd say 80% of my stuff, things I needed to take, put them in a bags. And there's a little space, lobby. So I put them there. So when they were leaving, we were like, oh, thank you for coming, blah, blah. And they took the bags and they left and they were keeping the bags in their places. So I had most important things, towel, a few t-shirt, blah, blah, left. So I can still use before I leave. And I think I left 3 weeks after that or 2 weeks after that. That day, that day, I think it was 13th of August. Everybody went to work. So my mom worked at my dad's place. My brothers worked there. So everybody went home. Only my mom was still there. And I that week, I had also part-time work. But this time I asked my dad's permission to work at the summer camp place. And I said, it's just 1 week and it's good money. And he said, okay, you can do that. So, and my mom was like, but then I already finished it. And I was lying that I still go there. But I was going and doing my stuff, preparing to leave in. I've been lying so much. So, and then my mom was like, aren't you late for your camping? And I'm like, oh, today my shift is after 12. And he's like, oh, okay. So, and then that was awkward. My heart was like beating because I knew that this is literally the last day I'm going to see my mom. So, and I couldn't tell her anything. And, growing up, a relationship with my mom wasn't like, there was no hugs or there was always distance between parents. You couldn't talk to your mom openly about anything. But then still, like, I felt like I need to give her a hug. I get emotional. Sorry.
No. Take your time. Take your time.
Yeah. Take your time with that.
I don't really feel like I miss them, but when I talk about that moment, it's kind of weird. I just started acting silly. I'm like, oh, you go to work. Oh, come here. Just give me a hug. Because I couldn't do it properly because she would be like, why are you giving me a hug? Because we don't usually give each other a hug. I'm like, oh, okay, see you later. She gave me a hug and I was like, okay, that's the last one. So, and then she left and I just went, packed my last stuff and I just left. So I took a tram and I went to my friend's place, but I was still at the same city, but then just was the other side. Like imagine from new territories to another new territories. Yeah. It was like that distance, but I still was in the same town.
Did you at that point, at any point in those last final moments, think, I don't think I can do this and maybe I should just abandon this entire plan and just stay at home? Was there a part of you that had that internal dialogue in that moment?
Since I decided to leave home every single day, I was like, oh, what if it doesn't work? What if they find me? What if? So many questions. But I know what's going to happen if I stay. I don't know what might happen if I leave. So I better choose that option and see, risk and see. So I just left. I left the letter though.
Oh,
really?
What was the letter?
Yeah, I left the letter.
What did it say?
In my culture, you can't live by yourself as a girl. So if you are all alone living, even if you are doing nothing bad, like me right now teaching, you still have a reputation of a whore, slut. I don't know, like they don't believe that you actually can achieve something just by yourself. They always think that there should be a man who will be helping you out or whatever. So, and I knew that if I leave and my parents will think that I left by myself, they would definitely 100% will be chasing me and try to find. And I come up with the idea that I will tell them that I left with a man, because again, in my culture, there is a thing that if you and the guy, you fall in love, but then your parents against your marriage for some reason, you just run away together. And if you run away, obviously you're going to have sex. If you have sex, you lose your virginity, which is another problem. And if you lost your virginity, you are used, they don't want you back. So I come up with the idea that I will tell them that I left with a man. But then I knew that if it's someone from my culture, they would say, oh, it's okay, we forgive you, come back, just introduce us to the man. But then I didn't have any plans to come back. And that's why I came up with an idea that I'll tell them that's a Russian guy. Because Russian are Christian and you're not allowed to have anyone beside your own religion. And I thought it's going to work. I don't remember what the letter, but I said that I'm leaving. I'm going to live with a man. He is Russian. And my dad and my mom ran away, actually. Their parents were against them and they ran away. And I thought that they will sympathize. They will understand my situation. Right. And they will tell, oh, okay, it's okay. But then, no, it didn't work. I was at my future boyfriend's workplace that moment. And it's already 6 p.m. and I'm supposed to be at home by that time. They thought that I went to summer camp again, right? My heart was beating so badly. And I switched my phone off. I knew that I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to get a call and they probably found the letter. So it was really, really scary. I turned the phone on. I had like loads of missed calls. And then I saw my mom calling, but actually it was my dad calling from my mom's phone. And I took the phone and my dad is like, where are you? And I like, I'm not coming home. There's a letter on your table. Just read it. And I turned it off back again. And I was shaking. After that, I didn't turn my phone on for a while, but then they contacted me through social media. You know, there's a Russian website. It's called VK. It's like Facebook. My brothers text me saying, how could you do that? Mom is not eating for days. She's like crying and so on. And obviously I felt guilty. Yeah. And I turned my phone on. I called my mom. And the first question was, she asked, are you still virgin? And I said, no. She started mentally abusing me again, like saying that if you don't come back, I will kill myself and so on. And I was like so scared. I didn't want anyone to get hurt because I decided to, live my life. I started panicking, and there was like a feminist group on that website, and I just posted there saying, hey, I left home and this is happening now. My mom said that she's gonna hurt herself and I don't know what to do. And then there was like loads of supportive girls, and then they actually said that do you have other siblings? And I like, yeah, two sisters, two brothers. And they're like, she's just threatening you. She's not gonna kill herself just because of you. I'm sure that you're not the favorite child. And I'm like, no. She's not gonna leave them because of you. And then they kind of was, when you panic and you can't think straight, and they're like giving me perspective from their, like thoughts from their perspective. And I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. So I kind of cooled down.
How did it feel? I mean, if that was her first question to you, like she hasn't talked to you and she knows that you've ran away, and the first question she asks is, are you a virgin? That question in itself kind of just, puts back the whole reason why you're running away, because they're so stuck in their ways. But when you heard that question, what thoughts were going in your head?
I was ready to lie and say no, because you don't have that kind of conversation with your parents. There's a massive, massive wall between parents and kids, unfortunately, at least in my family. So I didn't even know what to tell her. And I think I even said, I don't know, I will tell you tonight. I was like,
because it was so like, on the spot. Yeah.
Because I knew that I need to stick to my plan. If I say, yes, I am, they will be like asking me to come back and so on. And then my dad sent me a message on that website again, on the Facebook VK, saying that, please come back. We're not going to hurt you. We promise. We just talk, and you can do anything you want. If you want to study, you can continue study. I knew that's just words. I never, ever would go back. No, I'm not so crazy. A police officer contacted me again through that website, and they said that your parents reported you as missing. And I'm like, but I'm not missing, and I'm also not under 18. So how come they can report me? They said that I need to come to police station and file a report, like sign the paper saying that it was my intention to leave. Nobody forced me. It's not any cult or anything. So I left home
on your own accord. Yeah.
And then I thought it was a trick. I was really scared that if I go there, my parents would be there. Parents, I mean my dad. And I was avoiding them for days and saying, no, just said like, hey, I'm texting you here. Just use this message. And that's what I'm saying. I left by my own will. But then they know you need to come. And eventually I went there. I don't know how I managed to do that all alone. I went there, and the police station was quite close to my previous place. So I went there, and at the reception, I said, I'm going to see this police officer. And they're like, okay, wait a moment. We're going to call him. And that moment was like so long. I felt like ages left. Like I was so scared that they're actually calling my dad, not the police officer. But then they're like, okay, he's waiting for you. So I went upstairs, and he asked me a few questions, and he was writing all the answers. And then he's like, can I take your picture? Because your dad won't believe that you were here. He's like really headache. He said he will report us if we don't find you or something. And I'm like, go ahead. So he took my picture to prove that I really was at the station. And then, so that's when I left. I've never been to that side of the city anymore. But then I lived in the same city for 2 years. Actually, it was a town, not even a city. For 2 years, I've been in the same town. But then I think they gave up like 2 weeks after that. My brother sent me a message saying that you don't belong to this family anymore. You can change your surname.
When did you feel that sense of relief, like when you felt like you actually escaped?
I think when my brother sent that message saying that we erased, you don't belong here anymore. So I felt like, okay, so they gave up.
Okay.
But then I still had nightmares for months. Every time I could see like me trying to escape and my parents find me. And funny thing, when I talk about my story to someone new, I get nightmares back, but differently. So probably I'm going to have another dream tonight. But it's different now because I know that I already escaped, but new nightmares is about me going to visit them just to visit. And they make me stay there and I stuck and all the problems begin. And I try to leave that place again and I can't. So that's my new nightmare. But then before I could see that, they find me. I can't escape.
So at what point did you then leave Russia and move to Hong Kong?
So I lived there for 2 years. So I got my passport and then I applied for the travel passport. And obviously I needed money. I couldn't just leave. And I worked for 2 years at school, primary, secondary school, as an English teacher. And I've been like trying to save money. I started looking for jobs, like what can I do abroad? And I knew that abroad I need working visa. I can't do anything illegal. And for working visa, you need some diploma, some education. And I had to stick to my diploma. So, and one of my friends told me that in China, they're looking for English teachers. I found a group which searching for teachers. They find teachers and then they connect them with China. So the lady there, she said, what if we do Hong Kong, not China? And I like, what? Hong Kong? And I like, let me Google it. And I Google it and I like, wow, so beautiful. And I like, definitely, let's do Hong Kong.
And now that you're in Hong Kong, you're starting to build, you have so much things going for you. You have these projects, you're a teacher. I feel like, with anything, you have to break down to rebuild. And have you felt like you've been rebuilding your new life with this new freedom that you have?
I feel like I'm doing it slowly. With the current situation, it's really difficult because my main goal in life, I'd say maybe dream in general, was like traveling, explore, meet people, explore cultures, learn languages and so on. But then I couldn't do it first year because financially I was adjusting to Hong Kong. Second year, I did a few places. Third year, I actually traveled to, I wouldn't say quite a lot, but then compared to my previous life, that was wow. And this year,
COVID.
So yeah.
Let's say in the off chance that your company and your brand actually reaches out to that group of women who have been suppressed their whole lives and they've not been able to come out of their situation where they feel trapped and they have a lot of restrictions, how would you advise them to step out and get out of this?
It's really difficult to answer because it depends where they are. For example, if I would still be in Azerbaijan, I would never, ever risk to leave. Things which I've done, like pack my things and I left, I could do it because I was in Russia. I wouldn't ever risk to do it in Azerbaijan. I wouldn't go further than a city or two. They would find me right there. And I don't want to be dead. And yeah, I talked to some women. When I posted my story on Facebook group, on feminist groups, there were lots of women who reached out to me and saying, oh my God, I have similar situation. My husband is like that. My family is like that, or whatever. And one of them actually told me that she was like giving up on her life. She was like, I'm done. And then the morning she saw my post and she's like, okay, there is hope. I was like sitting there and crying, like, how can I help those people? I can't do anything except that just maybe give them a little hope, like voice up. And I just would say that if you have people you can trust, you can try to find a shelter, you can try to find a place, you can to reach out to people who actually help out. There should be some shelters, I think, in every like city or town who are actually helping out women, protecting them from abusive family or so on. Or if you have really close friend, it's very important. At least if you can share and talk, if you're not able to leave, you need to seek mental health. So you can talk to someone and feel much better. It helps actually. It's really difficult. I would say just leave. But then again, if it's danger for your life, it's not worth it. And I feel really stressed, depressed when I hear other people because I get so angry. I can't help them anyhow. Absolutely. Like, I wish I had like power, like, how those famous people have money and they have voice. But then, hey, we're getting there hopefully soon. And you can post and people will be like, trying to help out.
That's amazing, though, that you inspire so much change.
You were able to escape, this physical, mental prison, and you found your freedom. And
you haven't just stopped there. That's the thing. You've decided to pay it forward to the rest of the world, which is huge.
Right now, my sister shares her story with me, and I every time when I talk to her, and I'm like, God, I am so grateful for my decision that I left, because she's in the situation, she's stuck in the situation I used to stuck with. She's gonna turn 30 soon, and she has 2 kids, and she can't decide anything about her life. She's under control of my dad. She can't do anything, and her life is like a stress. Like, I can't even imagine how stressful she is.
One final question from me, Ila. If you can give a piece of advice to our listeners and our viewers, if you can have a single message like on a billboard, what would you like to say to them?
Enjoy your life. You have one life. Every moment, every detail. Don't wait that after holidays I will start, after promotion I will start, after, I don't know, losing weight I will start enjoying life. Enjoy your life as much as you can.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you so much for today, Ila. It's been such a pleasure having you here.
An honor, really. Ila, thank you for sharing your story with us. If you would like to learn more about Ila Welty and her Equalify project, you can find all the links in the description.
If you enjoyed the episode and would like to help support the show, please follow or subscribe. Also, we would love to hear from you. Please give us feedback by rating and reviewing on any of our different platforms listed in the description.
We'd like to recognize our guests who are vulnerable and courageous enough to share their life experiences with the rest of the world. We appreciate your perspective. Thank you for showing us we are human. We would like to give a special thanks to our producer, videographer, sound engineer, and everything else in between, Joe Mills. The show would be nothing without you. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Jenica.
And we are Multispective.